I know all that. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor and privilege for me to provide opening remarks to now this is the third annual Rachel Klitzman Memorial Lecture. And many, I hope, in the audience had the privilege of knowing Rachel. And we collectively, as part of our Penn family, and obviously Hardy and Bruce Klitzman are here, we lost her at a very young age due to a cardiac calamity that was unpredictable and indeed tragic. I go back a long way with Bruce and Hardy Klitzman, and I would say directly Rachel was part of my family. Bruce and I worked together very, very closely in my previous place of employment, and we're very, very close. And I sort of grew up alongside of Bruce in plastic surgery research at Duke Medical Center, and knew Rachel as a little girl and would see her from time to time at family gatherings, and followed her career and that of her sister Paige. And very shortly after I arrived at Penn, I was in the lunchroom and finding out where to buy a Philadelphia soft pretzel that I had been missing for 27 years. And who taps me on the shoulder? "Hi, Dr. Levin." It was Rachel. And tragically, a very short time thereafter, I was told that she expired and had an untimely death. And that was very shocking to all of us, and really in the prime of life, her enthusiasm about patient care and how beautifully she integrated here. I mean, I was really thrilled coming here as chair of orthopedics, and who's on the orthopedic floor but Rachel Klitzman. And I just thought, boy, that's really incredible karma. Here I am going from plastic surgery leadership to orthopedic leadership, and Bruce's daughter is one of our nurses. And so I felt very strongly that such a wonderful soul with such great parents, support can't go unnoticed, and that we can let this pass. And clearly, healthcare delivery today, as I see it, is an incredible partnership with all providers of healthcare. You know, administrators, PAs, nurse clinicians, floor nursing, nursing leadership. We have a great family here at Penn Medicine, and Rachel was part of that. And so I felt very strongly as a new chair of orthopedics that this is a tremendous opportunity to commemorate what she stood for, and that's the integration of wonderful care to our patients with nurses and physicians, specifically orthopedic surgeons, working together. And so we've had, this is now our third program. Each year, Hardy and Bruce come and join us, and it's just a special tribute to Rachel and what she stood for. But for perpetuity, her memory and what she stood for will live on for all of us, and it's a very special time of the year. It's a sad time, but I think at this point, the healing of loss of a loved one, you never really heal, but you become, you have a different perspective. And I think our perspective this morning can be one of celebration of a wonderful life. She's living on in the efforts of what we do day to day here. So each year we have a different theme, and this year it's going to be on international outreach, and that's a very, very special effort in our health system now. Ezekiel Emanuel, who's Rahm Emanuel's brother, used to work for the Obama administration, is now Vice Provost of Health Affairs here, and he's made a concerted effort to involve Penn Medicine on a global health scale. And so one of the things that our residents have clamored for, that I have been involved with when I worked at Duke, very intimately involved in Operation Smile, which is the international outreach of care of cleft lip and cleft palate patients. I don't do that work anymore, nor did I do it when I was at Duke, but that's the kind of humanitarian efforts in education and patient care that is really important. We are all in this room clearly so privileged to have what we have roof over our heads and usually 3 meals a day, unless you're a surgeon like Donegan, who operates around the clock, and I don't think he eats very much. But we're very privileged, and so we have an obligation, and I believe in this so strongly, as we educate future physicians and future nurses, that we have a sense of giving back and extending our knowledge and our care to those in underserved areas. So Hardy just told me that she and Rachel, both as nurses, had discussed doing something at some point in time, and I didn't know that until this morning. So it's a real thrill that this is our theme this year, is humanitarian outreach and care. And I'll just tell you, when Dr. Donegan was a resident, and we had the crisis in Haiti, the earthquake in Haiti, Penn, Mary, you may remember, was one of the first institutions to receive patients, and I operated on that Saturday and Sunday, and 2 people that came with compartment syndrome, and really, honestly, on death's door, and we did emergency amputation. Do they? Yeah, we did an emergency amputation on, I think, 2 of them, and they did extremely well, and these poor women were through horrible calamity, and the kind of care they received is emblematic of what we should do every day. We didn't change how we cared for them, but the circumstances of their tragedy is one that still is fresh in my mind. And of course, there was a lot of press and coverage about the fact we were here. What you don't know, and I think Rachel Klitzman would be proud of, and we did several missions to Haiti. Our faculty went down with our residents, all volunteering, and the residents volunteered their vacation time to go and participate in the efforts around Haiti. And that was sort of, as leadership for me, the first foray into thinking about how important it is. We don't do it just when there's a crisis, but we should be doing it as part of our mission, mission in education and mission in clinical care. So we now have international visitors from around the world coming to see us for brief periods through the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons. And I'm very, very proud of the next person I'm about to introduce to you, and that's Derek Donegan, who's a Jefferson Medical School graduate who was an exemplary resident. Each year we have 2 residents that serve in an administrative, almost junior attending capacity in orthopedics, and Derek Donegan was one of those individuals, along with Andrew Kuntz. And the faculty and healthcare system thought so much of them that we invited them to, after their fellowship, or Derek did his in orthopedic trauma, a very prestigious fellowship, invited him to come back on the faculty. And within a few months of arriving, we crafted the ability, and we insisted that he begin the process of international outreach from our trauma team on a regular basis. And so he spent 2 weeks in Nicaragua recently, served in underprivileged and underserved areas, and took one of our residents, Christina Endres, with him. So I think, to conclude my opening remarks, spirit of Rachel Klitzman really lives on in my heart. I remember her smile. I mean, the picture you see up here is exactly how she appeared to me that day in the lunchroom up on the 2nd floor here. And her energy and what she gave her patients and how she worked with her senior nursing partners was really, it was a special thing. And I am really thrilled that we can convene each year to honor her memory and to underscore the principles that made her a great nurse and a great person in healthcare delivery. So, Mary, I don't know if you wanted to make some comments about her. And okay, that would be fine. It is really my privilege to introduce my partner, Derek Donegan, who really is a tremendous talent. And he's a people person, he's a brilliant surgeon, very technically gifted, and committed to, I think, all the principles that Rachel was committed to as a physician, she was committed to as a nurse, and really look forward to his comments. And Derek, the floor is yours. So thank you. And Bruce and Hardy, really great to have all of you here this morning. This is an annual event, and it will be as long as I'm around, and certainly long after I'm around. So good to see you, and let's enjoy the morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Levin, for the very kind words. It is truly an honor of mine to be here for the third annual Rachel Klitzman Memorial Lecture. I have to thank Dr. Levin and Mary Rogers for inviting me to be a part of this very special day. In addition, I have to thank, I think in the essence of what this memorial lecture is really all about is family. I have to thank my own family for allowing me the opportunity to go away for 2 weeks with my wife and 2 twin girls at home. They were very understanding, especially since I had just gotten back from being away for a full year for a fellowship. But anyways, you know, my personal desire and goal to have international outreach as a part of my practice really stemmed from what Dr. Levin just talked about, was the crisis in Haiti. I actually remember being here on that weekend as well and helping take care of the patients from Haiti, which was, for me, just one of those events in life that I like to call a game changer. For me, my approach and my outlook on medicine and what we're able to provide here in the United States is just tremendous. And for me, that really gave me an interest in doing that overseas and actually taking our skills and the abilities that we have and what our wonderful education system has given us to be able to go to another place and provide that same care. So anyways, again, thank you, and hopefully this will be interesting and get a little bit of a sense of what I did over in Nicaragua. For me personally, it was a game changer for me, this trip. It really opened my eyes, and to be able to do it so early in my career, truly I feel blessed and very lucky to have the opportunity to do this. I plan on doing it for the rest of my career, and again, hopefully it's something I can involve my family in as well. This is ways to learn more about HVO. I think it's a great organization. It's a great way to go about doing something. It's set up through all different places throughout the country, and they make it as safe as possible. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
Yeah, could you comment on the what you found from the nursing care, maybe some differences or challenges, and I don't know if you mentioned, did you round post-op on the patients, like on the general care floors or in the ICU, and can you just comment on that?
Yeah, so the biggest thing I noticed was just the numbers. As you saw in that one picture of the PACU, there was one nurse for the entire PACU. So I think, you know, the number of nurses to patients is much lower. That ratio is pretty small. So I think it's more difficult for good, like, quality care to happen. Typically we would round the next morning on everybody that we operated on and all the people that came in the night before. And we did that as a group actually with whoever the quote-unquote attending of the day was in the OR. We would go around and see people. Again, they're just their infrastructure is a little bit different. You know, tibia fractures would literally sit there on the ward for 2 weeks before we get to them, just because of either equipment availability, OR availability, staff availability. So it's a little bit different than when here a tibia fracture comes in. We usually do it either the same day or the next day. Open fracture management is different. Like they're type 1 open fractures, small little wounds. They don't go to the operating room. They don't wash them out.
It was frustrating every morning when your driver was going to pick you up at 9 and he'd show up at 11:30 and you'd get to clinic at noon and you were supposed to start at 9:30 and there's a line out the door and just, you know, we'll get to it. It's not a big deal. Everything was lackadaisical. But I have to say, it was sort of nice that they don't have the technology we have. I thought, this is great. You get to be with your patients the whole 8 hours, then the rest of the day that you're there, and you're not documenting for 4 hours. So in theory, fine, all right, you can get picked up at 11:30 because you'll get to spend the whole time with your patients, which I liked, but no, it was so frustrating. You could not make plans to do anything because you'd be hours late. So the UPenn Botswana partnership actually has dental students that go over and also residents, and we all were in a flat together. So we got to interact with them coming from Penn, but once there, sort of no interaction at all. And I think in large part I felt a little bit like the physicians that we were working with from Botswana sort of, why would you go to Penn to be a nurse? What's this about? Like, what? Like, I don't know, sort of like constantly questioning what the choice was, and I felt that that was a little bit disrespectful on some levels because we were providing phenomenal care that I think you need to have a lot. You know, we are able to educate more nurses to join the workforce. It's like you don't have a residency program, and I think them not understanding that really was a hard thing that I grappled with. Other questions? Yeah.
Did you feel safe while you were there?
I felt very safe. We were in a pen flat that was nicer than my apartment here. And we had people on site all the time providing security. It was a big, large, locked gate. I was actually really surprised by all of the amenities we had there. And a little put off at times, thinking, why do I have somebody who's cooking me breakfast and washing my clothes? I can do these things myself. But on the flip side, that's providing someone there a job and a safe environment to have the job. So it was having to step back and think about everything from a more culturally sensitive perspective. But I felt safe, but there were times though, you can see the first picture of my slide, I can get to it. I'll show you how we were greeted when we got to the airport. So we were picked up in a pickup truck and just hopped into the back, and everything was done a little bit different. And if our parents could see us, oh my goodness, what is Penn doing to my kids? But we were all for it. We were like, this is great. There was one night that we were driving way out into the middle of the desert, and we had to stop at a hostel. And that was the only time that I felt like a little uneasy, just because there were no locks on the door. And they kept telling us, you can't drive in the dark, you're gonna hit wild animals while you're driving. And we're 8 of us piled into a big truck, and okay, when are we gonna hit that animal? That was the only time I felt unsafe though. And we crossed into Zimbabwe and Zambia, and it was fine. Thank you guys so much for letting me talk to you.
Well, that was wonderful. I'd like to sincerely thank our speakers for coming and sharing their stories with us, and for going and sharing their unique talents with people around the world. I think it highlights that there are so many people that need our help around the world, but also I think we know that there's people right around the corner that can use our help too. So I think Rachel knew that. I think she came to work every day with you know, with it in her heart to really try and make a difference. And so I think maybe inspired by Rachel's memory as well as the things that we've heard today, even if you don't have the time or the ability to get to Botswana or to Nicaragua, just do your best to do something really special for somebody that needs it today. But anyway, so thank you very much for coming. There is a lunch in 106 Dulles, which is right upstairs. That's being offered by the nursing department, and I hope you can all join us. Thanks so much. Is he still planted with us?